Imagine holding a book that has shaped civilizations, guided billions, and defined what it means to believe in something greater. This book isn't just any book, it's the Bible, revered across centuries and cultures as the ultimate source of divine wisdom. Now, what if I told you that the Bible you hold in your hands today is not the same as it once was? What if its original truths, profound, empowering, and world-changing, were altered, erased, and reshaped to fit the agendas of a powerful few? This is not fiction. This is the story of the 1775 Bible, a version so transformative and revolutionary that it was deemed too dangerous to survive intact. Its words carried ideas that could have upended institutions, reshaped faith, and redefined humanity's relationship with the divine. Yet over time, those words were quietly removed, replaced by doctrines designed to control rather than inspire. The question is, why? Why would anyone alter something as sacred as the Bible? What truths were deemed too risky for the masses? Today, we embark on a journey through history to uncover the lost power of the 1775 Bible. We'll explore the hidden battles that shaped its fate, the deliberate choices that altered its message, and the implications for how we understand faith, power, and ourselves. Stay with me. By the end of this video, your understanding of the Bible and perhaps even your spirituality will be forever changed. To grasp the significance of the 1775 Bible, we must first understand the extraordinary role the Bible has played in human history. It is not merely a collection of religious texts. It has been a cornerstone of governance, morality, and identity for centuries. In the Western world especially, the Bible shaped the moral codes, legal systems, and even the political ideologies of nations. But this power also made the Bible a target. Whoever controlled the interpretation and distribution of its words held immense influence over the hearts and minds of the people. It was more than a spiritual guide. It was a means of controlling societies. Enter the late 18th century, a time of intellectual awakening. Revolutions were brewing, empires expanding, and people beginning to question long-held beliefs. Amid this backdrop, the 1775 Bible emerged as a radical challenge to the status quo. Unlike the versions we know today, this Bible carried messages that empowered the individual believer. It painted a picture of a God who was accessible to everyone, a divine presence not confined to temples or clergy, but present within each person. This was a profound threat to religious institutions that had built their authority on being the mediators between humanity and God. A Bible that encouraged direct connection to the divine undermined the very foundation of their power. And so, a quiet but powerful campaign began to reshape the Bible, stripping it of its revolutionary ideas and transforming it into a tool of control. The alterations to the Bible weren't sudden or overt. They were subtle, almost imperceptible, yet their impact was profound. Verses that emphasized personal empowerment were excised. Passages that hinted at direct access to God were rephrased or removed altogether. One of the most significant changes was linguistic. Words carry immense power, and altering even a single term can transform the meaning of an entire passage. Consider the term Elohim, found in the original text of the Bible. This word, a plural term for God, conveys a sense of divine complexity and intimacy. It suggests a God who is not singular and distant, but multifaceted, relational, and deeply connected to humanity. For those in power, this concept was dangerous. A God described as Elohim didn't require intermediaries or institutions. The solution? Replace Elohim with the term Lord, a word that conjures images of hierarchy and authority. Lord implies a God who commands from above, a figure who must be approached through rituals, clergy, and strict obedience. This wasn't about clarity or accuracy, it was about control. By narrowing the language of the Bible, the relationship between God and humanity was fundamentally redefined. The Bible no longer invited believers to seek God within themselves. Instead, it demanded submission to an external authority. The manipulation of language was only one facet of the campaign to reshape the Bible. Perhaps even more impactful was the deliberate exclusion of entire books. These weren't minor texts. They were foundational to a richer, more expansive understanding of faith. Take, for example, the Gospel of Thomas. This text stands apart from the canonical Gospels in its approach. Instead of focusing on Jesus' miracles or parables, the Gospel of Thomas is a collection of his sayings, raw, unfiltered, and deeply personal. Its central message? The kingdom of God is within you. This idea was revolutionary. It suggested that divine truth could be found not through rituals, priests, or temples, but through personal introspection and connection. For the institutional church, this was an existential threat. If people believed they could access God directly, what role would the church have? Another excluded text was the Book of Enoch, a vivid exploration of humanity's place in the cosmos. It describes celestial beings, divine hierarchies, and a vision of spirituality that bridges the earthly and the eternal. The Book of Enoch paints humanity as active participants in the divine plan, a perspective that is both empowering and unsettling for those who sought to maintain control. Then there's the Wisdom of Solomon, a text that celebrates human reason and the pursuit of truth. It challenges the notion that salvation is something bestowed from above, instead framing it as a journey of personal growth and discovery. These books weren't excluded because they were false. They were excluded because they were powerful. They encouraged questions, fostered self-reliance, and inspired believers to seek their own truths. And for an institution built on control, that was unacceptable. One of the most enduring tools of control has been the concept of hell. For centuries, the image of hell has been used to inspire fear, enforce obedience, and ensure loyalty to the church. But what if this terrifying vision wasn't always part of the biblical narrative? In the 1775 Bible, terms like Sheol, Hades, and Gehenna appear, but their meanings are far removed from the fiery inferno we associate with modern depictions of hell. Sheol in the Hebrew scriptures refers to the grave, a shadowy underworld where all the dead reside, righteous and wicked alike. It is not a place of torment, but a neutral resting place. Hades, its Greek counterpart, is similarly neutral, signifying the abode of the dead rather than a place of punishment. Gehenna, a real valley outside Jerusalem, was used as a site for burning refuse. It became a metaphor for destruction, not eternal torture. So how did we get from Sheol to the blazing infernos of Dante's Inferno? The transformation was gradual, driven by the church's need to maintain control. Fear is one of the most powerful motivators. By transforming the afterlife into a nightmare of eternal suffering, the church ensured compliance. The concept of hell became a tool to enforce morality, suppress dissent, and keep believers loyal. But the 1775 Bible reveals a different perspective. It portrays the afterlife not as a place of eternal punishment, but as a realm of transformation, a chance for renewal and growth. No figure in the Bible has been more central or more reinterpreted than Jesus. Over the centuries, his image has been shaped to fit the needs of the church. But the Jesus of the 1775 Bible is profoundly different from the version most of us know today. This Jesus was not just a spiritual teacher. He was a revolutionary, challenging the very structures of power that kept people in chains, not just physically, but spiritually. His teachings weren't about strict rules or rituals. They were about breaking free from them. When asked about the greatest commandment, Jesus didn't point to sacrifices or temple worship. Instead, he emphasized love for God and love for one's neighbor. This teaching was simple, yet profoundly transformative. The Jesus of the 1775 Bible didn't seek to build an institution. He sought to dismantle the barriers between humanity and God. He called out religious leaders for their hypocrisy, condemned the prioritization of laws over love, and championed a vision of faith that was deeply personal and empowering. But a Jesus who liberates doesn't serve the interests of a hierarchical church. Over time, his message was reshaped to emphasize obedience, submission, and dependence on the institution. The word apocalypse often conjures images of fire, chaos, and destruction. But in its original context, the term simply means revelation or unveiling. The 1775 Bible presents the apocalypse not as the end of the world, but as the collapse of systems built on deception. It is a moment of awakening when hidden truths are brought to light and humanity steps into a fuller understanding of the divine. This perspective shifts the narrative entirely. The apocalypse isn't a punishment. It's an opportunity, a chance to shed the illusions that have kept us in spiritual darkness and embrace the truth. The 1775 Bible is more than a historical curiosity. It is a reminder of what has been lost and what could be regained. Its messages challenge us to rethink everything we've been taught about faith, power, and the divine. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you accept the narrative handed to you, or will you seek out the hidden truths for yourself? The journey won't be easy, but the rewards are immeasurable. In rediscovering the truths of the 1775 Bible, we may just find a faith that is richer, deeper, and more transformative than anything we've been told to believe.